Well, here I am. I'm at my cabin. Today's Friday. I just hung around here all day long. Just too tired to go out and do anything. I had a great hike yesterday. And actually, when I got back, I was too tired to make a video to say anything about the hike. So that's what I'm doing today. Taking it easy. I'm going to give an update here. Man, it was a beautiful, beautiful hike. I went to Missouri Lakes, and then on up to Missouri Pass, down the backside, up Fancy Pass, then down the backside, then to Fancy Lake, and eventually back to my car. This was so beautiful, but it was a much tougher hike than I thought it was going to be. I started out and I actually thought the hike was going to be pretty easy. Things were going real well. And I made it up to Missouri Lakes with no problem whatsoever. I got to Missouri Lakes, I was feeling good. And I was even thinking, man, this is one of the easiest hikes I've been on. And pretty. Oh, God, these Missouri Lakes are beautiful. There's a number of them, and every one of them that I went by, the water was clear. I could look in and I could see the trout swimming around in there. It was just so cool. There were real sheer craggy peaks up around the back of the lake and everything, and then there was meadows and grass and wildflower. It was just absolutely gorgeous. So then I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go on up Missouri Pass. And I looked at that thing, and I couldn't see a path. And it was so steep, I thought, okay, I don't know how the heck I'm going to get up there. Well, there was a path of sorts, winding its way up this steep side of Missouri Pass. And it took some work and determination, 10, 20 steps at a time, being very careful because it was very rocky. Finally made it up to the top of Missouri Pass. Looking over the other side, the view was just beautiful. I could see, I think it's called Blaguette Lake, from the view up there, plus a whole row of jagged peaks. It was just awesome, just awesome. So I spent a little time up there, made a short video, took a few pictures, got something to drink, had a snack, and then started back down the other side. Well, heck, going down is almost as hard as going up, except in a different way. When you're going up, your lungs are burning, you can't catch your breath. You know, it's a few steps at a time. On the way down, it's working on your knees, it's working on your toes, and I'm scared to death of falling. So I have to pick each and every footstep carefully. Thank God for my trekking poles. Those things were a godsend. If there's anybody watching this video and you ever want to go hiking, particularly in the mountains, get some trekking poles. So anyway, I finally made it down there in a beautiful, beautiful meadow filled with wildflowers. So I took some pictures of that, walked across the meadow, and then surprisingly, getting up to Fancy Pass was just going to be about as hard as getting up to Missouri Pass. It was steep and it was rocky, and matter of fact, it was even more rocky, and I didn't see any way to get up there again. But again, the path wound its way up, and I went up there, made it through to the top of Fancy Pass. Well, I was so tired when I got up there, I don't even think, I probably took a couple pictures, but I didn't make a movie. So I headed down the other side of Fancy Pass, and this side was so darn steep, I was almost, I don't want to say scared, but maybe a little. I mean, it was looking down at the way down, I thought, well, there's no path. Well, there was, and it wound through the rocks. So then I got down a good portion of it, and then I had to cross a snowfield. There's a spot where the snow was still in place from the winter, and it hadn't melted out yet. I was going to have to cross that snow. So I thought, okay, it's no big deal. I've crossed snow before, but this was on a little bit of a slope, and it was kind of soft and slushy. And there's a number of times when my feet were wanting to slip, so I was pretty nervous about the snowfield I had to cross too. So again, taking it very carefully, making sure each foot was secure before I made my next step. So I got past that. Doggone if there wasn't another snowfield. Same deal. Watched my feet, wanting to slip a little bit, made it through that one. A little bit further, and I'll be darned if there isn't a third snowfield. And this one was on an angle, so this one really made me nervous, because a slip on this one would have meant sliding down a snow hill of probably 30 or 40 feet to a bunch of rocks. So again, I took my time, was careful. Made it past there, and from there, it seemed like I was still on top of the world. The trail just kept going down and down and down, and I'm thinking, I don't know how I got this high up. It was just, it almost left me speechless, the way it looked like it went down. So I started heading down the trail, picking my way, picking my steps. Finally, I come to an overlook and I see Fancy Lake. It was pretty. So I took a picture of that, went a little bit further, still downhill, downhill, downhill. Finally got to the turnoff for Holy Cross City, which I wasn't going to do. And then I went on over to Fancy Lake, and it was pretty, and I sat there for a little bit, but I was getting a little tired. So I packed my stuff up after I got something to drink and something to eat, and I headed down. And on the little directions, the map I had, it said that it was quite a steep, they described as a corkscrew path going down the backside of Fancy Lake, and boy, was it. It was steep, and I call them switchbacks. I mean, it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And there was this canyon that was formed from the outlet stream from Fancy Lake. And I walked up to the edge and looked down this canyon, and I don't get vertigo very much, but that's about how I felt. I got to the edge, and it was so far down, it almost felt like it wanted to pull you down. I couldn't even see the bottom of it. It was that deep. So I stepped back, continued my walking on down, and finally got to a spot at the bottom that I was able to see the canyon and the waterfall. But anyway, I took a rest there, and then I kept walking, and it was all downhill. Well, downhill is great. You know, I can breathe just fine, and everything was going fine. I talked to two guys on the way up, and they said, oh, you're probably about an hour away from the trailhead. Well, it was quite a bit more than that. And I started walking and walking, and the hour came and went, and then an hour and a half. And I really, really got to thinking, I'm lost. I took a wrong turn somewhere. I'm lost. That's all there is to it. I'm lost. So what am I going to do? How am I going to spend a night in the woods? This is all what's going through my head. And I thought, well, I'm not turning around because that's not going to get me anywhere. I'm just going to keep going on this trail because the trail was so well defined. I knew at some point it was going to come out somewhere, and I'd find somebody to give me a ride to my car or whatever. Or I'd spend a night in the woods. So, didn't panic, didn't get upset, just figured this is the way it is, just keep walking. So I kept walking and walking. Then I come to a bridge that was talked about on my map. A couple of motorcycles going by there. And this bridge, if it was the right one that I was looking on my map, I was still about 8/10 of a mile away from the trailhead. But it was a good sign. I figured, okay, well, maybe I'm right. So 8/10 of a mile, maybe an hour. I'm walking pretty slow. So I go along, an hour comes and goes. And I'm still out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where the heck I'm at. And I'm beginning to creep back into my mind. Yep, I'm lost. I'm lost somewhere. I don't know where I'm at, but I'm lost. Little bees around here. So anyway, again, I said to myself, if you have to spend a night, you have to spend a night. So what? Just keep walking. Well, I'm walking, and then I see a forest sign. One of these wooden signs they make and they post in the forest. I got up to it, said Holy Cross Wilderness. Well, this was a real good sign, because my map also told me not far from the trailhead was a Holy Cross Wilderness marker. So I kept walking, and sure enough, before long, there was the trailhead. It was funny because I kept seeing mirages. I'd look through there and I'd think, oh, I see something white. That's probably a car. And every time it ended up being a white bleached out tree that had fallen down or something. So anyway, it was a fantastic hike. I think this hike probably pushed me to my limits as far as how careful I had to be. And it certainly took all the energy I had, but it was, I say this about a lot of hikes, but this was probably one of the prettiest hikes I've ever been on. So what I'm doing now, I've got sore toes, which seems to happen. So I'm not going to be hiking for at least a few days, and maybe not even the rest of the trip. So today, Friday, I just stayed in the cabin, worked on some stuff on the computer, worked on some music. Tomorrow I'm going to take a ride somewhere. I don't know exactly where. All the darn gravel roads around here are so rough, I don't even know if I want to ride on them. But I do want to go over to Monarch Pass, and I'm going to take a ride over there tomorrow probably. So I'll keep you all posted, let you know what I'm doing, what's going on, and just playing it by ear, taking it day by day. Talk to you later. Bye.